So I went home, and after a couple of days, the beeps turned into what I can only describe as like a dialect voice, and I couldn't tell female from male voices. So once again, trying to help myself, I found a really good way was to listen to the 6 o'clock news, listen carefully. Didn't always make a lot of sense. Then I would listen to exactly the same news at 10 o'clock on the BBC. And then after a few more days, I found I was picking up more and more of what the newsreader was saying. I was also picking up more what my husband was saying. And by the end of 2 weeks, I was able to distinguish his voice as a male voice and my daughter's voice and my grandchildren. And it just progressed from there, really. And I came back for tune-ins and tweaking with the processor. And it gradually became much more clearer. But in my case, I would say after about a year to 18 months, I found that it really reached a plateau. And the benefit I get from it hasn't really changed from that time.
I rushed out into the garden, I could hear the birds, and of course I could hear the doorbell and the cooker timer and the microwave and the clock ticking and everything, which I've got a cuckoo clock as well, and I hadn't heard any of those things for all that time. So it was a novelty, really. Even the sounds that the PC and the mobile make when they come on and off, or Skype or whatever.
After the initial tuning, you have a series of appointments just to tweak the settings, because things do change slightly, even after days, and not to mention weeks. So the first thing that happens is you have your initial tuning. 2 or 3 days later, you come back for the first tweak. A week after the initial tuning, you're back again for another bit of a tweak. And then at 1 month, 3 month and 6 month intervals, you have further tweaks. And then hopefully after that, you should be up and running perfectly.
After my switch on, at the time I was on a holiday, so summer break between my first year of university and second year. It was quite a relaxing time, and I remember that I used to go out, for walks and just trying to use the implant as much as possible, and that actually helped my brain to adapt quickly to the sounds. So yeah, it was quite. It wasn't stressful at all, because I didn't have to worry about going to lectures or socializing with people. It was just quite relaxing period.
You mustn't expect to hear from a cochlear implant the same way as a normal hearing, or even with a hearing aid. It is different. But your brain is a clever organ, and it soon works out what it's hearing. And as I say, within 2 weeks, I could hear that was my husband's voice and my daughter's voice, my grandchildren, my friends. I knew all their voices and still do now.
I think it was about a week, and I knew I was hearing really quite well. Gradually, I think I got to 76% at my annual checkup, but I think at 3 months I was 40%, which was a big improvement from 0. And I know I can hear a lot more, even though I do still struggle a bit with conversations. But it's a great improvement.
I'm now a year on, and my perception of speech has improved steadily, but probably is now starting to plateau. I don't think it's probably going to improve much from now. But I was delighted at the 1-year assessment, which was just last Thursday, when Nikki, my audiologist, took me through what they call the BKB hearing tests, or hearing test. It's when a person speaks fairly short phrases and these are projected to you through a loudspeaker sitting in front of you. And they're phrases like, the dog is barking, the rain is falling, the train was late today, and you have to repeat what you hear, or how much of this you hear. And at the end of this, Nikki came back from the control room, came through the door, a smile all over her face, and said, "You got 100%. And she was delighted, and because she was delighted, so was I. Yes, it's been a great journey, and although things are different, they're so much better than they ever were.
You will very soon adapt to the new sounds. Yes, you'll know your partner, your husband, your wife. The voice is changed, but once you've got used to it, so what? It's still the same person. I listen to bird songs now again, and yes, I've had to recognise the songs again and match them to the bird visually. But once you've done that, yes, you know a blackbird again, a robin, and they're similar, but I can separate them. I can hear great tits with their teacher, teacher, teacher. And yes, it's wonderful. You'll learn quickly because you want to.
I do still wear the hearing aid on the other side because I do feel it just seems to round off things a little bit, even though it seems useless on its own. So if I had another implant, I would throw my hearing aid willingly.
At first, I did continue to wear my hearing aid, but after a very short time, before the switch on, before the first assessment, I found that my brain seemed to listen more on the implant side, and I was finding that a distraction. So I don't wear it, and I haven't worn it since. And that's 8 years ago now. I just wear the implant, and for me, that is perfectly adequate.
I wear the hearing aid to give me a surround sound, better for my balance, it's better for group environment. It's something that I feel just equip me better for to be on the phone or to even just go out and go for a walk. That doesn't have to be the same for everyone. It's finding the right balance for you.
I still use that hearing aid because I have been told use everything, implant, hearing aid, lip reading, anything that help you hear better.
One of the greatest joys for me was to be able to hear the birds singing again and go down to the beach and hear the waves crashing in. And simple things like driving a car and hearing the indicator. And one thing I find really beneficial, seeing I'm a 70-year-old and having senior moments, is now if I've had the lights on and I go to do shopping or something, get out the car, it will tell me that I've left the lights on. Simple thing like that, that is so reassuring. And all those things you will hear with the implant that you probably have long not heard with your hearing aids.